Katz and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You guys, we have calling in right now. We've got Lara Trump. Lara, let's first get your reaction to this horrible stabbing that took place in New York, and the reaction or the tepid or lack thereof, in a way, by the mayor.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this is, you say it's scary, it's terrifying. The number one job of leadership, whether it's in a town, a city, a state, or a country, is to protect your citizens. And unfortunately, what we see here with this mayor is that not only has he not protected citizens, you guys are talking about this awful stabbing, the thing you just reported about the livery cab driver being shot. The city is a mess. The city is in shambles. This is the number one thing he should be focused on. But unfortunately, we've seen the way that this mayor has seemed to snub at the very best the Jewish population, and at the very worst, you have his wife who posted these horrific posts after October 7th, seeming to side with terrorists, with Hamas, so sort of championing what happened in Israel. You have him skipping the Israel Day parade. We know what he said about Netanyahu. And in a moment like this, where we've seen on college campuses, starting in New York City with Columbia University, all of this anti-Semitism pouring out, a leader should be pushing back and should be speaking out on behalf of the Jewish people. But we know it's the opposite. And unfortunately, I don't think that this is the end. I am afraid that this is the beginning. And I hope that the New York City residents understand now why people like Zoran Mamdani are so dangerous to put in leadership positions. And this is just the tip of the iceberg with this guy.
Laura, you said you fear it's going to get worse. I sadly do, too. Why do you believe that?
Well, I think that, you kind of, in your first 6 months as a leader, you probably test the waters. You probably make some kind of calculated risks and see what happens. And if, the things you're doing are kind of going towards your end goals. And we know his end goal is socialism. And in the first 6 months of his administration, it feels like New York has gone from bad to worse. I think if you want to bring down a city like New York and turn it into a socialist nightmare, you probably are going to see a lot more of these things happen. He's taken money away from the NYPD. He promised a lot more cops on the street, and yet we have not seen that happen. Whenever your focus is not on, again, your number one job, I think it can only get worse. And we've seen some bad mayors in the past. I'm afraid he might be the worst one so far, and that says a lot because we just had Bill de Blasio in there.
And what's so troubling, Laura, too, is it's part of this trend of these sort of democratic socialists. It's in their platform. It's all anti-Israel. It's anti-this. It's anti-that. How concerned are you about this sort of strain? Right before you came on, we were talking about James Carville, who now is sort of sounding the alarm this week, about the democratic socialists. But there's very few of them that are doing it.
Yeah, you have very few people in any sort of leadership position within the Democrat Party who have called this out. And it's really crazy because you would think that all of them would want to salvage their party. But the problem is they had 4 years with Joe Biden as their quote unquote leader. He left this void. No one filled it. Their only platform was to go against any and everything that Donald Trump did, no matter the fact that it was great for the country, that these things are common sense, like closing our borders, like no men competing against women in sports, not transitioning our children and giving them life-altering chemicals and surgical procedures to try to change their gender. They went in the opposite direction. And so they left a space open for these socialists to come in and take over. And I think a lot of us initially laughed about it and we said, oh, well, this will never stick. People actually won't go for socialism in the United States of America. And yet our educational system has failed the youth in this country. It has not taught our students and our children and these younger generations about the dangers of socialism. This is a clickbait culture. This is a culture of instant gratification. The youth of America right now, they hear something like socialism, free stuff. You get something free. Everything gets spread out. It sounds like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows until, of course, you run out of other people's money And I think that's where we are in this country. So they've had this ability to get a foothold. This has grown. This is where the momentum is within the party. And you have very few, again, of these traditional Democrats who have been willing to call it out. And this is, they've made their bed. Now they're going to have to lie in it, and it's fracturing their party.
Laura, I know tomorrow night, fill us in, because on Saturday night, you've got a pretty good guest. And you're talking about faith and sports.
Yes, I have Clayton Crenshaw, who is the former pitcher for the LA Dodgers. He was with the Dodgers for 18 straight seasons, sort of unheard of in professional sports these days. But he sat down with me. The Dodgers were at the White House yesterday with the president, and he talked about faith, family, life after baseball. And you might remember that a couple of years ago, he put a very famous Bible quote from Genesis on his hat during the Pride Day that the Dodgers had. And I think it's pretty amazing, because he talks about the meaning of the rainbow in Scripture and why he was willing to do that and branch out and speak about his faith at a time when it does feel scary, as we're talking about right now, to a lot of people to do just that. But, talk about socialism and the crazy Democrat Party. I also have John Fetterman on, who has toyed and kind of floated the idea of potentially switching parties, leaving the Democrats and becoming a Republican and a leader soon, has said he would welcome him into the GOP. I have encouraged him to come on over to the GOP as well. And I sat down as well with Caroline Leavitt, back from maternity leave, obviously back at the podium doing all the things. And tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, you can catch it all.
Wow. Well, it sounds like an awesome show, John.
I look forward to listening to it. Now, anytime I look at it at 9 o'clock in the evening on Fox in New York in the Eastern District. And if I fall asleep, I watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's on again.
Because it's so good, it's on twice.
John. I'll take you on both fronts.
And sometimes I watch it both.
Well, I appreciate it. And I will see everybody tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on Fox News.
Thank you,
Look
Lara.
forward to it.
Laura, thank you very much. Have a great, great weekend.